Did Bose just do this? Holy crap.
Namaste, we're DHRME. Dudes really hear melodic euphony.
Okay, let's talk about the design and build quality. It really looks like Bose is streamlining the naming of their headphones and earbuds because these are not the Ultra or the flagship, let's say, but the repurposed or successor to the Bose QuietComfort earbuds and the Bose Sport. The case and the buds shape all point to that, and the pricing $180, whereas the Ultra is $300. Okay, let's start with the touch controls. We're usually quite critical when it comes to touch controls, but Bose nailed it. They're responsive touch controls with very few mishits. And there's a little prompt so you know if you've hit it and how many times. And you'll need to know that because you've got a single, double, and triple tap as well as a long press. We've configured it this way. We like volume, track control, and the ability to change ANC mode. There are more ways to control these buds, but we'll get to that in the extra features section. Let's hop to the charging case because it's still chunky, as we've seen on the OG model and also the Sport. To be fair, it's a lot better than those were, but compared to the Ultra and the 2s, it's still quite a bit bigger. Be prepared for a serious bulge in your pocket, guys and girls. It's also not the most premium feeling. There's cheap feeling plastic and they're also a little bit hollow sounding. And it's good to note that I've had a few occasions where I put the buds into the charging case, but they stayed connected to my phone. Very annoying, so I had to fiddle around with the buds and it was a trial and error to get them to disconnect. Strange because the magnets sound and feel very solid. Now, there are 3 colors you can choose from: black, chilled lilac, and white smoke. We'll let you guess which color we have. Drop it in the comments. Don't you love YouTube bait? Okay, these buds are only IPX4 rated, but they're good enough, right? For rain, sweat, that's where you're probably gonna get these buds. Now, there's no IP rating on the charging case, so definitely keep that one safe. Now, the buds, in our opinion, do look quite generic. There's nothing fancy going on here, but if you like the understated look, then these are it. If you can get past that bulky protrusion. These are definitely not buds to sleep with. But that bulk has a function. 8.5 hours of battery life with ANC on. Impressive. And that big boy case can charge the buds up to 2.5 times. There's also Type-C and wireless charging on board. But what good are earbuds if they don't fit you and they're not comfortable? It was initially a turnoff when we saw how many tips were included. Just 3 sizes. You get oval silicone tips and wing tips. So I immediately changed the wing tip to get a better grip, but the left in-ear kept wanting to pop out of my ear. So after changing the ear tip for the left one to a smaller size, it did the trick. No issues with working out in these. They are definitely comfortable to wear for long periods of time, but you do kind of feel them in your ears. They're not uncomfortable, but something to be conscious about. Extra features. I think the biggest, newest thing here is the app because it's new. Again, I think I have like 3 different Bose apps on my phone now. There's the Bose Music app, I think Bose Connect, and now there's the Bose QCE that you need for these buds. The previous apps definitely had issues with connection drops and stuff, but this new one certainly feels a lot better. But it did struggle to connect quickly and there were a few times that the app got stuck. For some reason, Bose is still struggling to get this right. And it's not only the app connectivity. Sometimes the buds would drop connection, sometimes only the left one, and then they would reconnect automatically. Definitely some kinks to still iron out. Now, coming back to the app, the UI definitely looks and feels different. We always said Bose had a simple and to the point app. That isn't the case this time. There are a lot of options, but visually it's a mess. A lot of text and way too many separate options that could have been grouped together. For example, smart calls and fast mute, put it together. They're both about calls. Or touch controls, voice controls, remote selfie, and assistant. They're all about controls. Why not group them together? What's this voice control, you ask, and how is it different to your phone's voice assistant? Well, Bose just tried to make their own assistant on the buds. A bit like Google or Apple. So you can say, hey headphones, and then a command. And you can ask for the basics like track control and volume, but also to change ANC mode, call up your real voice assistant, or take a selfie, which they call remote selfie. So you can just prop up your phone somewhere and then say this command to your earbuds, and then it'll pull the trigger or click the shutter button for you. So they're all fun and games, but when it came down to it, it failed. Well, it kind of worked a few times and then it stopped working. And playing around with the toggle in the app didn't re-enable voice control. And trying the voice calibration failed every time. So all in all, it's still in the experimental or gimmick phase, and maybe they'll improve it with a software update. And to be honest, I'm happy keeping this feature off and just using my normal voice assistant in combination with the touch controls. And some of the other options you get in the app is a low latency mode, so if you're into gaming, that will be clutch. There's also a battery prediction mode. It's a funny little feature, but who's going into the app to see how much battery life they have left? Would you? And then you've also got a wear sensor. You cannot turn it off, but you also don't need to turn it off because in our opinion, it worked well. There were no accidental pauses or anything like that. There's also multi-point support. So you can stay connected to 2 devices at the same time. And that worked well in our opinion. You do not get a device list in the app though. Then you cannot talk about QuietComfort without the Quiet. For ANC, we slot these in at tier S. The king is still king, guys. Top-notch ANC. A smidge better than the AirPods Pro 2 in the low end as well as with the voices. Bose did not skimp on ANC performance on these cheaper buds, and we're super happy about that. Then for transparency, also tier S, amazing transparency. Bose hit it out of the park compared to all of their other buds so far. Even the Ultra, which was tier B. All the frequencies are let in naturally and are loud. One nitpick, the low end is slightly worse compared to the AirPods Pro 2, but these are almost as close as not having anything in your ears. Oh, and another nitpick is the bit of white noise that you can hear in this mode. There's also no separate wind reduction mode, but turning off ANC altogether gave the best result, because in both ANC and transparency modes, you would hear some of the wind interference. All right, guys, check out my popsicles, icicles, and test. All right, and this is a windy test on the Bose QuietComfort earbuds. You can see the wind speed on my wind meter here. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. And this is a mic test outdoors with cars in the background on the Bose QuietComfort earbuds. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Let us wait on a couple of more cars and then we'll do a softer test while I speak softly. Pop, popsicle, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, icicle, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. And in terms of Pacman control, guys, you can answer from the buds, obviously. What was surprising was that you can actually do volume control, even though in the settings you can't actually choose one of the gestures to be volume. But because we've set the single tap for normal audio to be volume, it actually works on phone calls as well. So that was very pleasant to see. You do also get a side tone option in the app, which is something that's been with Bose for a while now. It's basically how you hear your own voice. If you want to hear your voice louder while you're in a call or not, you can adjust that using a slider in the app. And you can also mute. So we've set it to long press to be the gesture for muting the microphone. So that's good. You have that on board as well. And another thing to keep in mind is you cannot change the noise cancelling mode straight from the buds because there's no gesture assigned to it. But you can open the app and change it from there if you really need to. In our opinion, they did all right. If you spoke up, they were okay, but you did hear the background noise. And the moment you started speaking softly, forget about it. So they're okay for a quick call, and if you speak loudly, perfectly fine.
Let's talk about the sound of these earbuds because that's probably one of the reasons you're buying them. And in true Bose fashion, this is a punchy, high mid-bass kind of sound. It is almost the very definition of a V-shaped sound. Punchy bass, elevated highs, and a recessed mid-region. But overall, I enjoyed the sound of this, and if you like bass, you're going to like this as well. One thing to keep in mind is that you can tweak this with quite a bit of flexibility. You get some decent presets, but also that 5-band EQ in which you can make changes It looks weird, those bars look a bit strange, but doesn't matter. It does the job. I thought it was a very, very effective 5-band EQ. I pulled up the mids a bit, dropped the mid bass a bit, and it was very good. The treble is kind of to my taste. It's not too much, not too over the top. You also will notice the lack of a high resolution codec. You only get AAC on these. It doesn't sound high res, let's say, but very serviceable. And for this price, nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. Great for an on-the-go fun experience.
Before we wrap up, guys, thanks to you guys, our lovely patrons and YouTube members. And a special shout out goes out to our Fuckman tier, as always, because they're our top tier, Gamma Panda and Paula. Thank you guys very, very much. So in conclusion, is this refresh model of the Bose QuietComfort earbuds a good product? I'll be honest with you guys, when I heard that these were silently released by Bose, I didn't think much of them. I thought they're just rebranding a bit and they'd be very similar to the original Bose QC buds. But boy was I wrong. These might be my new favorite Bose earbuds. At a little more than half the price of the Ultra earbuds, you're getting the same ANC but better transparency. That in itself is a huge upsell for these buds. Then you've got the comfort and fit. If you take the time to play around with the tips and wingtips, then these should fit really well. You're getting loads of touch controls and customizability in the app. You get great battery life, wireless charging, multi-point, and a wear sensor. It's true that the case is still big and cheap feeling, and that the app and buds still have a few connectivity hiccups, and that the phone call quality is average, but the pros definitely outweigh the cons for me. At $180, these are an easy recommend for me. And obviously there are cheaper buds out there that get you there too. But if you need that quiet and comfort, then these are it.
I don't know, I kind of disagree on that, Kevin, because yes, if you want to buy Bose earbuds, these are probably the first Bose earbuds in the last couple of years that we would recommend. We've been called Bose haters before, but that's simply not true because we love the Bose over-ear headphones and we've said as much in many videos, but the earbuds have been a completely different matter. So do these redeem Bose? I don't know. Decent sound, decent calls, connectivity hiccups, not the most pocketable case. Sure, they fit well, great ANC, great transparency. If you want that at this price, there's nothing better. But I don't know, with Bose, there's always something. And that's why I personally would not be recommending this to people. So unless you want that ANC and transparency, I'd much rather recommend something like the Sennheiser Momentum 4 or the Sony WF-1000 XM5 or, many of the great premium buds out there. You've been feeling something and we've been DHRME. Dui.